Judging by the ravaging success of diamond thieves in Hollywood movies, one might think walking away with millions in dollars is a snap. But such heists do work occasionally and happen pretty frequently. Every couple of years or so, a team of thieves gets away with a diamond heist. A heist is no mere robbery. It's a feast of patience and engineering that yields some of the biggest payouts in history. The weird thing is, it's hard to tell if the thieves ever see the cash, since in almost every major heist, the diamonds were never found. Story number 10. A nearly golden getaway, 1983. November 26, 1983, approximately $39 million worth of diamond robbed in Brinksmart warehouse, Heathrow Airport, London, England. The diamond in this heist is something of a footnote, but the sheer perseverance of the thieves on this one makes it worthy of our list. In 1983, thieves plotted and schemed to steal millions in cash. So what were they to do when they broke into the Brinksmart warehouse at Heathrow Airport to find 3 tons of golden bullion instead? The robbers had inside help, thanks to the fact that one of the warehouse security guards was related to one of the criminals. With the guard's detailed knowledge of the warehouse layout and security procedures, the team of 6 thieves managed to raid the warehouse quickly and detained the other guards. But although they had the inside scope, they oddly didn't know about the gold. As a result, they didn't have a vehicle big enough to steal all the precious metal, but they did the best they could under the circumstances. Their planned 5-minute robbery wound up taking close to 2 hours as they laboriously moved bullion by hand. As an added bonus, they also found a pile of cut and uncut diamonds. In the days after the robbery, detective pinpointed the 2-faced security guards as their prime suspect. He quickly ratted out the identities of the thieves. Some of the men were caught shortly thereafter and sentenced to prison, but the gold was never recovered. Authorities suspect that all of the gold was expertly mixed with other metals to make the bullion untraceable. Story number 9. Machine guns and germs. 1994. August 1994, Clayton Hotel, France, received some set of visitors unmarked who packed approximately $60 million. This robbery relied less on elaborate schemes and more on brute force and fear. At the shop's closing time, 3 masked men bruised into the store and began spraying machine gun fire. Understandably, customers and employees panicked as people fled and ordered in terror. The man swept jewels into bags and made their escape with their all valued at roughly $60 million. They were never apprehended and the jewels were never recovered. Yet, as police investigated the crime scene, they quickly realized one important detail. There were no bullet holes in the walls or ceilings. The robbers had been firing blanks. Story number 8. The Millennium Star Fakeout 2000 Millennium Dome, London, England, approximately $700 million. In general, diamond heist almost always have a cinematic feel to them. There is painstaking planning, high drama, and the chance that one thing would go Hollywood ending of this smear record heist. In 2000, thieves attempted to steal $700 million worth of diamonds from London's Millennium Dome, included in the intended booty of the world's famous Millennium Star diamond, weighing in about 203 carat and 12 blue diamonds, weighing a total of 118 carat, all owned by diamond conglomerates The Bars. Stealing these gems would mean unfathomable wealth, so the criminals didn't go cheap on preparations. They came prepared with the tools and weapons to do the job right. The thieves were heavily armed and threw gas canisters into the dome to cover their entrance. Wearing gas masks, they ran in and smashed the display cases with sledgehammers. They were about to grab the diamonds when police officers dressed as cleaning crews rushed in and shut them down. The police had been tipped off before the heist and had already nabbed the speedboat that was their allegedly getaway vehicle. Even if the robbers had managed to grab the jewels and escape, they would have been destroyed at their house. The night before the attempt, authorities had replaced the real gems with fakes just to be sure they remained safe no matter the outcome of the raid. Story number 7. Night at the Museum 2002. In December 2nd, 2002, thieves pulled off one of the most inexplicable diamond heists of all time. The Museum, a science museum in Netherlands, was putting on a phenomenal diamond diamond exhibit intended to educate the public about the gems. There were royal pieces on display, as well as jewelry lent to the museum by other museums and private collectors. The most valuable pieces disappeared either Sunday night or Monday morning. Because the museum is closed on Mondays, the theft went undetected for at least a day. Museum officials came in on Tuesday to find that 6 of the exhibit's 26 display cases were empty. The museum had 24-hour security guards monitoring entrance and exit, as well as 24-hour surveillance footage that covered every square inch of the exhibit. The cabinets were all in a motion detection zone, and the displays that housed the most valuable piece, the displays the thieves emptied, were made of refined glass. To this day, no one has an idea how the heist happened. Nothing showed up on the video footage, and the guards never saw a thing. The motion sensors never went off, and the display cabinets showed no evidence of tampering. The only sign of a break-in or a single smashed window leading into the museum and the empty cases. The flawlessness of this heist suggests inside information, but investigators have been unable to make any connection between the robbery and the museum staffs. The museum hasn't released details about exactly which diamonds were stolen, but insiders note that a wedding gift given to King William III to Queen Mary II of England in 1960s was among the museum's prized pieces. The museum eventually put a price tag of about $12 million on the robbery, but since many of the stolen pieces had historical significance, the whole is really priceless. The gems would probably never turn up for auction because they were too famous to go unnoticed by anyone in the jewelry world. And after several years of investigation without a single lead, detectives have closed the case. If invisible thieves can get away with $12 million in stones, what do the visible, well-armed, and dangerous types go home with? Number 6 in our countdown is a possible record breaker. I am sorry, but that's impossible. 2003. February 16, 2023, Antwerp Diamond Center, Belgium, approximately $100 million. One of the largest diamond heists ever took place in Antwerp, Belgium in 2003, with a confirmed value of at least $100 million. The complex crime goes down in history books. Antwerp is one of the 2 diamond capitals in the world. The other one is Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. 80% of the world's uncut gems go through Antwerp, and many of them are stored for various periods in the underground vault of the Antwerp Diamond Center building. Of the 160 safety deposit boxes where diamond brokers leave their stones, often just overnight, while broking deals, only 123 were emptied of their content. The thieves had so many diamonds to carry that they were forced to leave 37 vaults unopened, and Diamond Center employees came in to find loose diamond straying about the vault. At least 4 people had been planning the theft for years. They rented office space in the building in 2000 and analyzed the alarm system lent out to bypass it. They also obtained keys to the vault and made copies. On the day of the break-in, they recorded over the security system and inserted fake tips into the surveillance system to cover their movement. All of these coordinated actions suggests an inside job. As it turns out, it was. The gang was identified as a group known as the School of Turin, a brilliant group of thieves that never uses violence. One member is known as the King of Thieves, and insiders refer to another as the Magician of the Keys. The investigation accordingly led to Italy, and most of the group were arrested by Antwerp police working in conjunction with Italian law enforcement. One of the thieves had left his DNA on a half-eaten sandwich among diamond-carrying bags dumped in a ditch near the crime scene. Another thief's DNA was found in the vault. He had acted as a diamond merchant for years, apparently storing stones in the Diamond Center, and had however passed all the center's background checks. Many of the thieves are in prison, but the 100 million worth of diamonds and other gems that were stolen was never found. Italian police discovered some of the loot in the vault in Italy and photographed the items for confirmation, but by the time the Antwerp authorities arrived to collect the stolen stones, they were gone, removed from yet another supposed secure location. The next one on our list isn't the biggest aisle, but it is quite possibly the most impressive. How can you beat the long con? Story number 5. Follow that truck. 2005. February 25, 2005. Amsterdam, possibly 118 million, unconfirmed. This one makes the list for its sheer dollar amount, because many of the stolen stones were uncut, and uncut stones are difficult to put a definite value on. An absolute figure had never been confirmed. But if roughly 118 million estimate is correct, the Amsterdam airport heist is the largest diamond heist ever. The heist was more like something out of a gangster film than a sophisticated plot like Ocean 13. It was a truck hijacking, plain and simple. 2 weeks before the heist, the thieves did a test run in a stolen KLM cargo truck. At least one of the thieves broke into the freight area at the airport and made sure everything was in order. Then on February 25th, wearing stolen KLM uniforms and driving yet another stolen KML truck, the gang drove right up to a truck carrying diamonds intended for a flight to Antwerp. With plenty of people watching, the team forced the driver out of the truck at gunpoint, had them lie face down to the ground, hopped into one of the truck and drove away. Since the thieves obviously knew which truck to target and how to get their hands on the KLM uniforms and a KLM truck twice, police suspected inside help. Diamond merchants who lost millions in stones blamed the airport's poor security, and the heist was actually the second time in 6 months that the cargo terminal had been infiltrated. Investigators haven't recovered the stones. It's likely the next diamond stolen in the next entry on our list will never show up again. Either they're too famous. Story number 4. A chocolate for your keys. 2007. March 2nd, 3rd or 4th, 2007. ABN AMRO Bank, Antwerp, Belgium. Approximately $28 million. No one knew his real name, but the staff members at the ABN AMRO Bank in Antwerp Diamond District knew him as Carlos Hector Flomembam. Flomembam billed himself as a successful businessman, and he had frequented the bank for at least a year. The bank's employees loved the guy, described as a grey-headed man between the ages of 55 and 60, speaking American accented English and brandishing an Argentinian passport. He brought the bank's workers boxes of chocolates, talked to them about non-diamond related matters, and ultimately won their trust to the extent that he was given VIP access to the vault. At the bank, certain customers are given keys so that they can access their diamonds at odd hours. Flomembam became one of their trusted key holders, and sometime between March 2nd and March 5th, 2027, he let himself into the vault and walked out the front door with 120,000 carats of diamond. The ABN AMRO Bank has a $2 million security system, but Flomembam never had to deal with that. He had his pass card to get into the vault, went straight for the area that he knew held uncut diamonds, and emptied 5 of the deposit boxes. Antwerp's diamond merchants were stunned. It's still unclear how a man with what turned out to be a stolen passport could have passed the bank's background checks. Among the stolen gems were 41 blue and 2 extremely rare green stones. In all, the haul was worth about $28 million. Story number 3. The Italian Job. 2008. February 3, 2008. The Damianin showroom in Milan, Italy. Approximately $20 million. This next one begins with a woman in Milan complaining to the police at least once about every morning noise in the neighborhood. Because there was a construction project going on nearby, nothing came from her complaints. The police and everyone else figured that the noise was coming from the workman. No one considered that the woman lived practically next door to the world's famous Dominion jewelry showroom. Dominion's building was secured with a high-tech alarm system and an armed guard at the front door. None of that really mattered though, since the thieves had been drilling a hole every morning through the 4-foot wall that separated the showroom basement from the basement next door. Their timing was perfect. The store had been preparing for a private showing, so there was no customer in the showroom, just staff members who could open the vault. The thieves wore fake or stolen police uniforms and popped up in the showroom through an inner unguarded entrance at 10 a.m. Unarmed and apparently relying on disguise and surprise, they asked to see certain store records and then pounced, tying and gagging the staffs. They temporarily untied one staff to open the safe. The operation took about half an hour, netting about $20 million in diamond, rubies, and gold. So what was the only flaw in such a ground heist? The thieves would have made off with much more had it not been Oscar time. Some of the most valuable pieces were out on loan to Hollywood stars, including Oscar winner Tilda Winston, who wore Damianin's Sahara bracelet bearing 186 diamonds, totaling more than 47 carats. The investigation is ongoing. Police suspect an inside job. The timing was just too perfect. Story number 2. Drag Queen Diamond 2008. December 2008, in Winston store, Paris, France, approximately $107 million. As robberies go, this downtown Paris heist was executed in a relatively gentle, civilized manner. Perhaps that's because it was conducted by women, or at least men dressed to look like women. On December 4th, 2008, robbers entered the Harry Winston store and made off with roughly $107 million worth of jewelry and diamonds. That's just short of the record-setting mammoth haul of $127 million in diamonds taken in Antwerp in 2003. At about 5:30 p.m., the four men, at least some of whom had worn women clothing and wigs, walked casually into the Winston store, which was right down the street from a Parisian police station. They immediately went into action, menacing employees and customers with handguns. There's no doubt that the robbers were already familiar with the store and its employees, who they allegedly called by their first name. They also knew the location of the secret safes located throughout the store. Within 20 minutes, the still-at-large criminals had cleared out much of the store's stock, including diamond rings, watches, necklaces, and much more. Then they calmly and quietly exited the store, drove away, and were never seen again. They had a great plan, great disguise, and a clean getaway. But this next set of diamond-crazed criminals left behind a clue to their eventual arrest. Story number 1. From protestics to prison, 2008. August 6, 2009, Giraffe Diamonds, London, England, approximately $65 million. At just before 5 p.m., two men wearing suits entered the store. They looked the part of just about any other wealthy man looking to buy expensive gems and jewelry. But really, their looks said nothing about them at all. That's because they had visited a professional makeup artist who altered their skin color, applied prosthetics to change the shape of their faces, and ultimately made them appear to be entirely different people. They put their altered appearances to use by walking into the store, unveiling handguns and threatening employees who hurriedly unlocked display cases. In all, the men made off with more than 40 pieces of jewelry. Valued at a whopping $65 million. They exited the store, fired at least one gunshot to frighten and confuse witnesses, and then drove away. A little while later, they switched vehicles and fired another gunshot for a good measure and speed away from the scene. But the robbers committed a forehead slapping blunder. During their hasty escape, they left a cell phone in one of their getaway cars. Police used numbers on the phone to track down the men. On August 20th, authorities charged Solomon Craig Cleatherwood with conspiracy to commit robbery and attempted murder, among other offenses. From there, the police made more and more arrests, totaling 10 men in all, and although they apprehended the perpetrators, they never recovered the stolen merchandise. So whether the thieves are using a sledgehammer or a really sincere smile, there are at least a couple of things the big diamond heist has in common. First, a successful heist typically requires inside help. After all, we're talking about the most highly guarded carbon in the world. And second, while the thieves may be caught, the diamonds are almost never found.